Welcome to the eFIXX Awards 2023. Please welcome your host, eFIXX editors Gary Hayers and Joe Robinson.
Thank you for tuning in to this year's eFIXX Awards. We're your hosts. He's Gary Hayers.
And he's Joe Robinson.
And in this presentation, we're going to be announcing the winners of the Business Awards. Now, since the resounding success of last year's event, we've been out to visit some of the winners and explore their work a bit further. And we can honestly say that it only strengthens our conviction that this industry has some amazing people producing better work. Any standout highlights for you from last year, Gaz?
Yeah, Neo Electrical Solutions went down to a residential property that only the very few could afford to live in. I saw the swimming pool area and how he took it to another level with his lighting design.
Excellent. And if anyone thinks that they have a reaction video from last year that can beat Neo Electrical, then please tag us in on them on social media.
Congratulations to Neo.
Never gets old, that. Meanwhile, I had the absolute pleasure of meeting up with Theo Webster, who won 2 awards last year and has overcome serious physical injury to build a solid business. And I also got to visit the good people at West Country Tech, who are doing great things in data and security. In fact, one of our judges this year were devastated not to see any animals on CCTV in this set of awards. So maybe that's a tip for nominations in 2024. It's fair to say that there's never been a better time to be an electrician. With the ongoing electrification of vehicles and heating and the boom in renewables, along with the rise of the prosumer, opportunities are abounding for those willing to step outside their comfort zones and take them. And this is reflected in the awards. We had hundreds of great nominations across the board, and they were so high in standard that some awards were chosen by the very finest of margins. We've got a couple of new categories to look out for this year, so keep your eyes peeled for those. And Gary, which categories in the Business Awards are you particularly looking forward to?
It is that renewable sector, isn't it? For the last 12 months, our minds have been focused in on the cost of energy, and now we've turned that focus over to how we can save it by producing our own.
Yeah, that category was really fiercely debated, wasn't it? And speaking of debates, that's a good opportunity to thank all our judges who took part in the process. These leaders and champions of industry gave a big chunk of their time up to trawl through the finalists, taking deep dives into various aspects of each business and made some really good observations. So thank you so much for all your help there, folks. It's much appreciated.
Meet the judges. Karen Boom, Project Manager, Oaksmere Design. Mark Coles, Head of Technical Regulations, IET. James Kernow, Electrical Engineer. James Kernow, Electrical Engineer. Paul Elcock, Managing Director, Dock Store. Sam Featherstone, Director, Oval Renewables. Ian Clark, Lecturer, North Lindsay College. Simon Smith, Director, SA Energy Limited. Tom Shelbourne, Business Owner, West Country Tech. Timothy Benstead, Managing Director, Tim Benstead Associates. Dr. Robert Weller, Principal Consultant, Electrical Investigation. Dean Barrett, Managing Director, The Rolet Group. Stephen Smith, CEO, EV Comply. Shahid Khan, Specialist Standardisation Engineer, Eton. Andrew Bellas, Lecturer, Lincoln College. Ruth Devine, Managing Director, SJD Electrical. John Williams, Group Specification and Trade Director, Luceco Group. Mark Butcher, Commercial Director, Laser Electrical Services. Paul Droshin, General Manager, Digital Illumination Interface Alliance. Nick Ramo, Founder, EV Nick. Joe Robinson, Technical Editor, eFIXX. Gary Hayers, Editor, eFIXX.
While we're thanking people, we really need to mention our sponsors. The eFIXX Awards simply would not happen without your help, so thank you all very much for your ongoing support. You're demonstrating your commitment and passion for this industry we all care about so deeply.
Thanks to the sponsors of the eFIXX Awards 2023 business categories. Luden Palazzoli, Marshall Tufflex, My Energy, Wago, Scarmy, Lutron, Ledvance, Cavius, Fergus, Aurora.
Now on to our first award, which is one that's very close to our hearts here at eFIXX, and really the most appropriate category to begin with, because it's in this area that the electrical industry really got started at the turn of the 20th century, the Lighting Installer of the Year award. We had some stunning submissions as part of this category, and it was one that provoked much debate amongst the judges. To create really good lighting installations, you need to blend functionality with form. It really is the perfect combination of the cold precision of science coupled with the eye of an artist. Let's see who the finalists were in this hard-fought category.
The shortlisted entries for the Lighting Installer of the Year award in association with Ledvance are M3 Electrical, Derek Burnside, Electrical.
So 3 really good contenders for the top spot there, and this was reflected in the debate among the judging panel to narrow it down to the overall winner. The business taking home the award impressed the judges with their exclusive partnership with a large lighting manufacturer and online retailer, the neat and meticulous nature of their behind-the-scenes installation work, and even prompted one judge to suggest that they'd hire them to install custom lighting in their own home, which is pretty much the highest accolade we can think of. Who's the winning business tonight, Gary?
You've built that up well as we tell you that M3 Electrical are the winners.
Really well done to you, M3 Electrical. No doubt you're sitting by the phone awaiting the call from the judge who wants some lighting doing in their own home. Make sure that you charge him extra when he calls. Moving on to our next category, we've got the Wholesaler of the Year award. This is a brand new award for 2023, and as such there was some fierce competition to be crowned the inaugural winner of the eFIXX Wholesaler of the Year award. No one else will ever be the first to win this category. The nominees were a mixture of branches of nationwide brands and smaller independent stores punching above their weight with the big contenders. So who's it going to go to? Let's hear the nominees.
The shortlisted entries for the Wholesaler of the Year award in association with Aurora are Devondale Electrical Wholesalers, City Electrical Factors Middleton Branch, AT&T Chelmsford Branch.
Our winning business in this category was nominated not just because of their prompt and timely deliveries on a wide range of products at great prices, but because of the way they give back to their local community. They support learners from their local college in Chelmsford by providing high quality work experience opportunities for learners, hosting trade days for students to attend and meet different companies, and offering them a discount on tools when presenting their college ID. Wow. All of this makes a very worthy winner of who, Gary?
The winner is AT&T Chelmsford.
Very well done to you, AT&T. That is absolutely fantastic work. Now, moving on to our next category, we've got the Fire, Data and Security Installer of the Year award. Now, while this may not be the most glamorous area of the electrical world, it just quietly gets on with its job without a lot of fuss or bother and clamouring for attention, but it's something we all really appreciate when it does what it's supposed to do. Remind you of anyone, Gary?
Only if I'm looking in a mirror.
Okay, well, that's super hurtful. Moving swiftly on, let's see who the finalists were for this category.
The shortlisted entries for the Data and Security Installer of the Year award in association with Cavius are WFP Fire Security and Electrical, Go Secure Security, Allo Electrical and Security.
Now, in this category, there really was one outstanding winner. The judges felt that their commitment to quality, not being dependent on budget, their approach to in-company mentoring, and the educational approach of their YouTube channel marked them out as a cut above the rest of the competition. Who's taking the award home tonight, Gary?
It's WFP Fire Security and Electrical.
Excellent work there from WFP. It just goes to show that exceptional businesses look beyond the day-to-day work and take the big picture seriously. Our next category is an exciting one, Smart Home Installer of the Year. This relatively new area of the industry certainly ruffles feathers among some areas of the electrical community who view it as a sort of cheeky upstart, but it certainly is making its presence felt with smart technology available in products to suit all budgets. But with an upsurge in popularity, there will very often be a corresponding downsurge in quality. And therefore, it's good to see how many great businesses were nominated for this award. Let's see who made the shortlist.
The shortlisted entries for the Smart Home Installer of the Year award in association with Lutron are Smart House Scotland, eFIXX, iSmart Control.
So some really good nominations there. To whittle it down to a winner, the judges pointed out the sleek nature of the winning business coupled with their diverse skill set in the smart home and home automation space, going beyond just flashy lighting or automated blinds and developing software that allows monitoring of the use of energy to save their customers money. Gary, who is declared as the winner?
It was eFIXX.
Now, at this point, we should point out that despite the similarity in the name of this winning company with our own, we're pretty sure it's pronounced eFIXX and not eFIXX. And we'd just like to assure you that this is not the smart home installation arm of our business, and we haven't just given ourselves an award. Do you think that's going to convince the viewing public and, more importantly, the lawyers, Gary?
I think if it's smart home connected to me, I'm usually a million miles away from an app. The only thing I get anywhere near that's smart is yourself, Joe.
That's very kind. So we're going to move on, and we're going to move on to another new category, the Building Services Designer of the Year Award. Electrical and lighting design is pretty much my favourite area of electrical work, but it's also one of the most underrated and overlooked areas of our industry. And the brave souls who do this work day in, day out have to be able to visualise complex installations and cable routes almost entirely in their own mind to make accurate calculations for safe and compliant installations. And so we wanted to recognise the efforts of these individuals with their own award. So let's find out who the finalists are.
The shortlisted entries for the Building Services Designer of the Year Award in association with Marshall Toughlex are EJ Environmental Design Limited, Anderson Green, SDC Survey Design Consult.
This was a fascinating category to dive into, but one of the nominees stood out above the rest, carrying out a wide array of work on a number of different projects, from the very old, where respect for the existing building needs to be shown, to the brand spanking new, where cutting-edge technology could be factored in. They did carry out the design for a brand new training facility for Nottingham Forest FC. Did we let that influence our decision at all, Gary?
No, and the charity work that Nottingham Forest FC do each and every season to other clubs in there by generously giving so many of their points away has obviously not been factored into this judging process.
Bit savage. Okay, so we didn't hold that against them. So the winners are who, Gaz?
Anderson Green. Whilst Joe's been doing all the talking, he's managed to drain the battery in his microphone. So whilst he's gone off to recharge the energy within that battery, it brings me nicely to the Renewable Installer of the Year. One of the most fiercely contested categories we've got by both the candidates and the actual judges themselves. It just shows the passion that runs through this part of the industry. And it will shape our industry, won't it, on the way we generate and consume electricity for decades to come. Let's see who made the shortlist.
The shortlisted entries for the Renewables Installer of the Year Award in association with SCAME are Carbon Zero Renewables, Cato Electrical Services, Coots Electrical, Insight Energy, Deej Solar, iVolts.
The top position was really close, and it came down to the amount of detail the judges thought that this candidate put into their submission, as well as the number of recommendations they had and the passion that they showed through their online video content. The winner is Deej, or is it DG Solar? Either way, you've just won the award.
Okay, now we're coming on to one of our favourite categories, the Industrial Installer of the Year. This is the big installation stuff that we love: tray, trunking, conduit, SWA, you know, proper electrics. Last year we had a strong winner who represented the younger generation, as they also won a 30 under 30 award. So let's see who's in the shortlist for the Industrial Installer of the Year.
The shortlisted entries for the Commercial and Industrial Installer of the Year Award in association with SCAME are Binary North Limited, UK Electrical Services Rail, Broad Oak Electrical Limited.
In this category, there was again a clear winner who the judges felt showed some great examples of workmanship with big trunking installations, a good range of work in a complex arena, and faced additional challenges with the factors of public safety and complex working environments. And they were particularly impressed with the lighting installation at Paddington Station, carried out by who, Gary?
It was one of my favourite entries. It's UK Electrical Services Rail.
Big congratulations to Neil Bridgman and his dedicated team. You've produced some work to be proud of there. Moving on to our next category, it's one of our surprisingly popular categories, namely the Marketing Award. Last year's winners showed some astounding examples of good marketing with their TV ads and were so happy with their award that they decided to enter again. And they did indeed make the shortlist. So let's see who's joining them in the list of finalists this year.
The shortlisted entries for the Electrical Marketing Business of the Year Award in association with Fergus are Home Rewire, WFP Fire Security and Electrical, Quinergy.
So are Home Rewire Scotland going to become our first ever winners of an award 2 years on the bounce? Well, this year's winner submitted an absolutely passionate entry explaining why they should win, demonstrating an incredible depth of understanding of marketing, including a couple of choice phrases that will be getting used by the team here at eFIXX regularly, including promoting the equivalent of a gone-off boiled egg, which we hasten to add is not a reference to their business, but a situation that could be allowed to develop, and we take what we do so seriously, almost like King's Guards, except we can do banter and take loo breaks. Excellent wording. Now, while our judging decisions are not based solely on word count, the effort and passion that went into this submission, along with the outstanding approach to marketing on a modest budget, meant that this year's clear winner is who, Gary?
Well, when you said 2, that links to this because it is WFP Fire Security and Electrical.
Really big congratulations to the team at WFP who have just become the first business to win an award in more than one category. And we need to particularly acknowledge their head of communications, Verity Stone, who wrote that impassioned entry and is clearly doing a phenomenal job. Well done. Now, our next category covers an area that has been courting controversy over the past 12 months, with some claiming that the electrical infrastructure in the UK is simply not up to providing it, and others who are determined to make it work. Of course, we're talking about the EV Charge Point Installer of the Year award. Recent updates to regulations have made this area of installation even more challenging than it was previously, and so our nominees have been under pressure with their work to keep it compliant. Let's see who made it to the shortlist.
The shortlisted entries for the EV Charge Point Installer of the Year Award in association with My Energy are Energize Energy, Morzak EV, Haywood EV, SRG, NSN Electrical.
So some seriously stiff competition there, as evidenced by the number of finalists, but the winning business from that list offered a wide range of services from individual domestic right up to large rapid DC chargers, and that their interesting projects in developing new technology puts them ahead of the usual installation company. The winner of the EV Charge Point Installer of the Year is...
I just want to hold it there for a second. There's so many of you, and it is Haywood EV.
Big congratulations to all at Haywood EV. Keep up the good work. And also in this category, an honourable mention goes to Morzak EV for their educational work being carried out on YouTube. Is creating YouTube content an easy way of making a living, Gary?
Well, we're making sure it isn't, okay? So we're trying to put other people off doing what we allegedly do for a living.
Okay, so moving on to another really hotly contested category now. We're looking at those noble souls who devote their labours to the art of keeping people safe from that pesky elastic trickery in their own homes. It's the Residential Installer of the Year award, a sector of the industry that was once as simple as electrical installation got, but with all the advances in technology and updates to BS 7671, it's becoming increasingly challenging to keep up with the pace and produce quality work in a competitive workplace. So these finalists have done so well to make it to this stage and should not be ashamed if they haven't managed to crack the top spot. Let's see who's in the running.
The shortlisted entries for the Residential Installer of the Year award in association with Loudon Palazzoli are CS Electrical Contractors, KDM Electrical, Darrington Electrical, NDM Electrical, Glasgow Rewires, Mark Rufus Electrical.
So how to thin that incredible list of finalists down to just one winner? Well, it was a challenge, but in that word challenge really lies the key to the selection in this case. The winner in this category started his business as a sole trader and built it up to where it is today with several employees and multiple site contracts. But through all of this, our winning business continued to help and support other people by carrying out a lot of free work for charities such as the RSPCA and Age Concern, as well as local residents who may be struggling, including completing 3 rewires for free for, in his words, ladies who'd been ripped off by another electrician. Again, it goes to show it's not just about the quality of the work done. Tonight's winner is truly a support and help in his local community. Who's taking this award home tonight, Gary?
It's KDM Electrical.
Big congratulations to all at KDM. They've also been asking certain ones of their customers, instead of paying their bill to the business, to donate it to a local young girl's GoFundMe page who's tragically suffering from a terminal illness. I'm sure you'd agree this is an absolutely worthy winner of an eFIXX award who's going above and beyond to help others out. Now, speaking of a worthy winner who's going above and beyond, brings us on to the big award of the evening. It's time to discuss the eFIXX Person of the Year award, sponsored by Vargo. This year's winner has spent the last few years supporting the electrical industry in general and on an individual level too. Alarmed at the lack of support for those trying to complete their AM2 exam and finish their apprenticeship, he was motivated to set up the Lone Ranger initiative, lending out tools and materials, along with a purpose-built rig to people who were in desperate need of an opportunity to practice their conduit bending and trunking cutting skills in the run-up to their gateway assessment. On top of this, he's also a keen promoter of electrical safety and always gets firmly behind the Safer September campaign, as well as other efforts to raise awareness of issues affecting the industry and beyond. I'm sure we all remember the sight of this gentleman doing press-ups every day to promote taking mental health issues seriously. He's also a keen advocate of continuing professional development and has even created an online calendar for all to access, showing when and where free training courses can be accessed. He's an absolute grafter on all fronts and one of the most generous people that we've met. Just don't ask him about his cyber currency trading on Instagram. Who is this year's eFIXX Person of the Year, Gary?
With great emotion, it is Eddie Clemens.
Big congratulations, Eddie. Keep up the good work, and we hope this award goes some small way to recognising all you do for the industry. So that brings us to the end of this year's eFIXX Business Awards, and we just wanted to say well done to all our winners, but also really well done to all our finalists as well. It's always a huge challenge for us to whittle down the entrants to the final few, and even more of a challenge to pick a winner from those, because the standard of entrance is simply phenomenal. So please, if you were disappointed that you didn't win or even make the shortlist, don't be disheartened. Think about what you can improve about your entry or your business over the next 12 months, and nominate yourself again next year. And if you have never entered your business for an award, get involved. We often get asked what can people do to increase their chances of winning, and the first step is simply to step into the race. The only way to guarantee you won't win next year is simply not to enter. Once again, we want to say a huge thanks to all our judges for your hard work and time in helping us with this process. We hope it wasn't too stressful an experience for you. And finally, one last thank you to our sponsors. We couldn't create this awards process without your support. We really appreciate your efforts to recognise the work being done in the best sector of the construction industry. A big night there then, Gary.
It was, and it's been fantastic. And I've got in my mind now that I'm going to get out on site and get to meet these people in person, and obviously spend some more time with our Person of the Year as well. So well done, Eddie.
Couldn't agree more. Well, it's been emotional, but all that remains in this video is to say thank you very much for watching.